Huge news in the crypto space, probably the biggest in at least 4 years. XRP fam, put them up. We're going to tell you all about it and what it means for you. Question everything, trust nothing. Welcome to Debate Crypto. It's your boy, Crypto Keeper, and I am glad that I am the one streaming today. We could not have Crusader dragging us down on a day like today. So I'm super excited. We're going to get into it. We're going to show you the charts. We're going to talk about XRP, obviously. Just make sure to smash those likes. Make sure you subscribe. Follow all the creators that I'm about to bring up. Do your thing, YouTube. We love you. We appreciate you for being here. First-time guest. We're going to start off with a first-time guest. We have from Leading Crypto, the order flow specialist himself, Max. How are you doing, brother?
I'm very well, mate. How are you?
Dude, I am doing fantastic. Glad that you're here. I think actually this is a perfect day for you to be here as well, because I'm sure there's a lot going on in the order blocks across the markets, as people have seen with it pumping. We've got also from Leading Crypto, your boy Magic Internet Money. Magic, what's popping?
Oh, man. XRP, apparently.
XRP, apparently. We are seeing it all over the place. And special guest, Frankie Candles with the Candle Mafia coming in. Frankie, how are you?
I'm doing great. I mean, I'm doing super good today. Shout out to the XRP army. Let's go. I got my XRP jersey on today.
Man, you know what?
Let's go.
I should have. I've got an XRP shirt. I don't know why I don't have it on. This is a problem. Yeah, you can ding me for that later, fam. I'm apparently not actually part of the XRP fam if I don't have on an XRP shirt, but Frankie is holding it down for us, so we appreciate that, Frankie. Let me jump into the chat real quick first. Big shout out to Justin Eubanks. First in the chat, always like to shout out the first one there. Says, yo, let's go. And I know him and a lot of other people in the chat. Brad Geidel's up in the house. Daniel Santiago. We got enough comments in here from everybody. Not going to be able to say hi to everybody, but we appreciate you all for being here. Make sure to smash those likes and follow all of the creators. All right, so before we get into it, I want to take a look. Let's click over to the old market caps, which is a fun one to look at today. If any of you have been paying attention to your portfolio, you might see a difference. We've got the global market cap at 1.23 trillion with the T dollars. That's up 3.29%. So what's happening? Let's take a look. Bitcoin's at 31,270. That's up about 2.5%. Good to see that. ETH up almost 5%. I actually saw it over 2K just a little bit ago. That's at 1981 right now. Shoot, even BNB is popping right now. But wait a minute. Number 5 in market cap. That was a big move. Okay, who's that? XRP. We are up 66.48%. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you a little secret. This morning, just bright and early, decided, you know what? I think I'm going to go into like a 100x long on XRP. So not only am I stacked up on my long-term game, but now I am generationally wealthy. Okay, that's a lie. I did not do that whatsoever. Nobody had a heads up, but it would have been fun to make a play like that. But I think the gentlemen are going to tell us what's going on in the charts and why things are doing what they're doing. So let's kick it off. I actually want to show Chart Prime real quick, and then I'm going to let the real pros do their thing. Been practicing a little bit, so bear with me here, fam. I want to show you what I'm seeing on the hourly. I have a question for Max to kind of kick us off in terms of a little bit of order flow stuff, and then we'll get into some more of the questions. So as we look at Chart Prime, and also this is first month free if you guys are looking for Chart Prime, we've got a link down in the description. I'm not going to be able to obviously go into all the different indicators on here, but I'm just looking at the hourly. We've got an hour-long show, trying to take a look at the hourly over here. We have got a lot of sell pressure up here at about 31.3 to 31.6, but it is moving hard. We can see the prime score is at 9. That only goes up to 10. That effectively tells us we are making a strong move. So we see that on the hourly. On the other hand, though, we've got one of these orange blocks right here. These orange blocks tell us whether they're overbought or oversold. We are definitely overbought right now, and we see money flow starting to cap off. So let me ask this first. I started to mention about an order block. We've got a nice little order block, which usually puts some some sell pressure in terms of the order block up here at like 31.3 to 31.6. Max, talk to me about what you're seeing. You can pull up your own if you want to pull it up, but tell me what you're seeing as it relates to order flow in Bitcoin right now.
Okay, perfect. So we'll go to Exo charts. So this is the software that I specialize in, let's say. And basically what you can see is, the ebb and flow of orders coming into the market. So right now, I did just scalp a little long. It did literally just hit TP. My alert just went off a second ago. And it was simply the fact that you had a basic gold pocket. We all pull these. We all know how they work. But you had a big drop in open interest here. So you can see you had these two candles. It was over a 0.5 drop in open interest, which for me is a signal to want to take a trade against the trend. So when you have a drop in open interest is a sum of longs and shorts in the market. So when you have a drop, when you're going down, it's shorts taking profits and longs getting stopped out. And what happens when you stop out and liquidate one side of the market? Yep. Price tends to reverse to the other. Now, I didn't get in early enough here, so I waited for it to come back to the gold pocket. And then as a scalp, what you do is you just aim and target the highs. And, if we are zooming out, this uptrend that you've had since earlier today has been pretty strong in the open interest. So when you have open interest increasing with the trend, what that means is you're getting longs that are doing well and pushing the price higher. So this is open interest down here, by the way, guys.
Okay.
As price is pushing up and open interest is increasing, it means longs are coming into the market and are doing a good job at pushing price higher, as well as shorts are coming into the market and are getting trapped. And trap traders are one of the best things to trade against, because when they're trapped, people panic. All the psychological issues that people have with trading, they all come. As soon as you see that red on your exchange, you start to panic, you start to sell, you start to close your position.
Yeah.
Really, price can ride up until it forces them out of position. So,
and Max, can you see when they're can you see, is there an indication that they're actually quote unquote trapped? Is there something, is it more of is it a simple, hey, I'm just kind of looking for this, or is it more complex than that as it relates to trap traders?
To be honest with you, open interest is literally traders entering the market. So If you simply look at the trend here, so in this section of the chart here, you can isolate this point on the chart. Let's draw a box. So we can say in this little range here, effectively, you can see you had an increase in open interest. I can't see the percentage on this chart. In fact, I can bounce over to here. Oh, looking at XRP. Oops.
Imagine
getting ahead of myself. But yeah, you can isolate this. Where was it? I think it was, where was it on this chart? 7:30 my time. 7:30 is back here. So we can isolate this section of the chart. Let me hide some of these indicators. Apologies. Yeah, here. That's here. So you can isolate this section of the chart that is a range, put a box on it here. And then we can see in this little range that we had an increase in open interest of 5%. So that is a lot of traders coming into the market in this very compact little area.
Okay.
As soon as you get above those traders, you're going to go and stop them out. It's why you come up here and you take the high, because when you enter in a range, you typically put your stop loss if you're entering short above the high or long below the low. And so whichever way this range broke out, you're going to go and seek the area where the stop loss is going to be. We didn't really have a big drop in open interest as you took the high, but as it's continuing to tear up, with the open interest and this trend, this high is getting taken. I just can't see it not getting taken because of how strong this uptrend is from an open interest standpoint. And the longs really aren't giving in. There's a lot of green delta coming in, which is aggressive market buys, and it's what you want to see with the trend. You want to see delta, volume, and open interest all come in to really judge a trend, a trend strength.
Yeah, and I was actually seeing that with the chart prime indicator that I was showing. When you see a 9 or a 10 on there, it means that there is some strong movement happening in the market. So I'm interested to hear what the other gentlemen have to say about it. Let me kick it off though. Let's kind of backtrack a little bit. We started off with XRP. Obviously, that's the news of the day. Declared not a security. So Frankie Candles Show me the chart, bro. Like, obviously, we know huge pump, right? But what do you see technically come down the pipe from XRP? But also, obviously, we know some fundamentals played a huge part in this. Where do you see this headed? What's the chart looking like right now?
Yeah, so let's make sure I'm unmuted here.
Yep, you're good.
Yeah, so for sure. I want to bring up the chart. There are some targets that I'm looking at, but obviously, yeah, this was based a lot on news. I know XRP got relisted on, I think it's called BitBuy, which is a Canadian exchange, which obviously, I was just saying on my live stream earlier today, not only did that create buy pressure because people are like, oh, now cool. Like people who use that exchange, like now I could buy XRP again. That's great. Like I'm looking to accumulate for the next bull run. But not only that, you then start to get people starting to, hypothesize like, well, hey, they're starting to relist it and there's some other news going around. And you could just feel everybody kind of just getting super excited. So it kind of starts it kind of starts that FOMO buying as well. But pulling up a chart here, hopefully you guys can see this.
Yes, sir.
So basically what I'm looking at, I'm actually going to get rid of some of these levels really quickly.
Yeah, that's a beautiful chart. Look at that. Just freaking tearing up.
Oh yeah. On my live stream, I was just like, let's just sit back and just turn off the TA and just appreciate these God candles. Just straight Lambo candles. But this is actually something that I've been looking. I'll talk to you guys about a little bit what I've been looking at on my channel for quite some time. And like you said, like, there wasn't a whole lot saying like, last night, like, oh, hey, get into a trade here, other than we were in a little bit of a wedge here. So that was expected to break out in one direction or the other. But really what I'm looking at here, Keeper, is if you zoom out a bit, right? And I do use the volume profiles very, very often, as well as Market Cipher is another indicator that I like to use. And there's on Market Cipher, one big thing we were looking at was on the weekly time frame. Now, this is on a lot of other stuff as well, such as Bitcoin. We actually had something very, very big happen back here in June, and that was the weekly money flow crossover on Market Cipher B. And historically, when these happen, you can just see, if I just go ahead and turn the TA off to clean up the chart here a bit, you can see every time you get these money flow crossovers, it is typically a very, very big move to the upside. And they don't happen very often, right? Like, this is the last money flow crossover we got into the green was in 2020, right? So it's usually a sign that the bottom is in and the bull market is, not gonna moon right up to all-time highs immediately, but it does, oftentimes mean that the bottom is in and it is time to either, continue to consolidate before the halving on Bitcoin and then the next parabolic bull run. Obviously, this was suppressed last cycle because of the lawsuit, but this was like one of the big things that not only on XRP, but on a lot of the other altcoins and on Bitcoin mainly that I'm looking at, which is making me super, super bullish on crypto, going into the end of the year. I don't think it's impossible to get corrections back to the downside, but just in the long term, this is a very, very macro bullish sign for Bitcoin. And then as far as targets, there is some very specific targets we've been looking at, which is going to start with the volume profiles, right? We were looking at a break of this level here at about 50 cents to potentially start a move through this big volume gap that we have between these two levels, looking for a quick move up to test the previous value area low from up here in 2022. And we actually did on lower time frames. I won't spend the time to go down there and look at it, but on the lower time frames, we did kind of consolidate here for just a little bit before absolutely mooning to our next target, which was the point of control of that range. Shout out to the volume profiles. Once you break that value area low, you are expecting to eventually go for that POC, which actually wound up happening. It doesn't always happen this quick, but it did wind up happening very, very quickly today, obviously because of the bullish action. But you could just see how these levels get get respected, right? You come up, consolidate, rip right up to that next target, and now we're consolidating again. Next target for me, next big target would be up here at about $1.28, which is the value area high of the range.
Wow. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what what XRP has in store for us. Even just the rest of today, we could see, I think, just a continued move as more, because a lot of times, actually, candidly, Crusader was the one that told me that it happened. And I thought he was messing with me, because who better to tell me about XRP than freaking the hater of XRP himself, Crusader. So when he first told me, I was like, yeah, okay. And he's like, no, I'm serious. And I'm like, I know you really well, bro. You're not. He's like, I'm serious. And I was like, let me look this up or whatever. So I think a lot more people are going to be figuring this out, finding out. And I think obviously that'll be bullish. So Magic, you've traded XRP for a while now. It's one of those things where you've always said, I don't care what the asset is. If I see a setup, if I see an opportunity, I'm going to take it. I'm going to make some money. So please tell me that you're either did make some money on XRP, or that you've got some sort of a game plan or something that you're looking for to enter or exit, I guess, a trade.
I've been gig along on XRP for a minute. There's only been a few positions that I've been holding. XRP long, even though I sit there and I rile up the community. I love to do that. But I always said, I've been saying since I went on Investing Bros and your show for the last 6 to 8 months that I'm long on XRP, looking for this specific setup here. So I don't care what happens in the lawsuit. Makes no difference to me. We were looking for 29 cents to 37 cents initially. Okay. We got our entry, a retest. Now you're just looking for the back test of this. It was a bullish bat pattern. And this is technically the B leg right here. So you're looking for that downwards wick and then the closure here on like a weekly. Sometimes you can use the daily if it's a smaller time frame pattern. What's really beautiful about this is if you measured the time of this, I believe I've got a fun folder somewhere. There we go. If you measure the timing of this, right, this is almost an exact one-to-one from the X to the A position to the C to the D. So it took almost identical in time. And then if you look out here we are at the 2-to-1, meaning that 1-to-1, same amount of time expires. We're now getting our breakout. So that was your next major pivot date outside of this one right here at the 1.5 back in December, which ended up being a nice low. So yeah, this was a good one. I took an additional long as well. And when I say that, what I mean by is I added leverage to spot holdings, as I'm not a huge alt leverage trader, especially when I'm be holding the position for 6 to 8 months. So I believe it was 45.5 cents on XRP, and I took profit at 87 cents, mainly just looking for this B leg right here. Yeah. And then I'll be looking for the next one up here to fill this box out. Now, if you were to go out to like a quarterly chart, just to take a look at where the inflection points might actually be at, high time frame wise, you can see that you have not closed a quarterly candle above what we just ran into. So if you were to look at this on the weekly one more time and see this section of price, you can see that after coming back to it very quickly, bouncing off of this level, forming your double top here, you then tried to regard this as support until eventually turning it into resistance. So this is a big area to get back above. And you do need to be aware that I believe the overall POC of all price action is actually $1.09 according to ATAS. Yeah, $1.926. So yeah, if you can get above this level and flip it, I think that Frankie's got a good target there. I believe that's also pretty close to your local, or not local, but your global golden pocket at that time. Yeah, pretty close to that 128 level. And then after that, I really kind of just, if there's no real rejection found, you look up to 157. But this is a take profit for me. I'm not, one of those people that's going to show you guys a lot of moon boy targets. I'm just going to give you the next areas of interest. And I think that this is a good place that if you were long, you're up quite a bit on this investment. That's a 300% gain. So, and what he's talking about, for those of you that he's talking about on a trade, obviously, or on leverage spot holdings, saying, hey, this is an opportunity. Deleveraging spot for sure. But yeah, I mean, otherwise, it's business as usual. I've been waiting on this one. So this does feel good. I'm sure the rest of the crypto space is enjoying it even more because they're all very into the, if the SEC is going to win against crypto or not. But for me, no doubt, it's all about just paying the bills. Who cares?
We had a couple super chats. Just want to take a brief pause. First of all, thank you, everybody. Make sure to smash that like if you haven't already. RC Moore, shout out with the super chat, said 20x long, $116 to $1,200 from 60 to 91. Thanks, Frank. So, Frankie, hey, listen, you're out here helping people make some money. Good for you. That's a fun thing. And then somebody else shouted out and said that, Frankie, you look like a cult leader. I don't know if you saw the super chat on that. So, I mean, you do have the candle mafia. I don't know how you look like one, but yeah, shout out for the super chat on the cult leader comment. At least gave me a little bit of a laugh. So, Max, let me ask you this, just for kind of shits and giggles, if you will. Does the order flow look absolutely insane on XRP today? Like, was there just a massive influx where it just looks goofy?
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you heard, I mean, this isn't order flow software, but let me hide these. As soon as you heard the news broke, you just had, I mean, I can zoom out on this. This is
what kind of a chart are you on there? Are you on a?
I'm on the
you're
1 minute.
minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, let me go to the 5 minutes.
Do you
please.
trade lower time frames like that regularly?
Yeah, I trade the 1.
Okay.
Well, I didn't let the open interest load in, but yeah, as soon as the news broke, people were just absolutely going ham buying. You can see the huge increase that you've got there. I mean, let's check the percentage on that. Let's go from here to the top. Yeah, I'd say, what is that, 50% increase there?
Just boom, right away.
Just 5 minutes, effectively.
Piling in.
Insane. An insane amount of money just came straight into the coin. And the uptrend was really strong. And then what did you have at the top? You had a huge drop in open interest. And the candle prior and the wick after, you just had a huge drop in open interest. That's a load of those shorts that would have been on the other end of that open interest increase, just getting absolutely wrecked from the market. And they just typically lead to reversals when you have these huge drops in open interest.
Yeah.
So,
well, what's the play then? Like when I know this is totally a kind of, a black swan type of event. We've been waiting for years for this case to come up. But let's say it doesn't matter whether it's XRP or something else. When you see a massive inflow coming in, do you normally scoot your chair back and say, okay, I'm going to sit here and kind of watch what's happening? Because it's like, sometimes it can be like catching a falling knife going the other way as well. Is this maybe sit on your hands time, or is it something that you're really interested in?
So I have a specific altcoin trading strategy, which is pretty much only for trading altcoins that are, going up quite rapidly. So I'll go on to either CoinDeco, or you can just do it on your exchange. I'll go to the filtered, and you can change it so it's the 24-hour top movers.
Okay.
And then you'll go to that, and I've just got a list of them here, to be fair, and I'll just rinse through this. Whichever one's moving the most, I will look at that and I will see the strength of the trend. And if it's a trend that I want to get involved with, what I will simply do is I use an indicator called swing points and liquidity. And this effectively adds areas of large sums of liquidity where a lot of traders have entered in specific areas.
Okay.
And once you've seen the trend, seen that it's strong, and you'll make sure that there's no really big reversal signals anywhere near, simply trade an SFP, which is a swing failure pattern, in line with the trend, and then you just ride it out, to be honest with you. And you get trades every day because there's always some shit coin that just absolutely moons.
Uh-huh.
I'm not gonna lie, some of the coins you've brought up in the group, I'm like, what in the hell is that?
Yeah, honestly, they're just like so obscure. You would have never heard about them before, but they move, and then you just need to get that one. You need to be patient, allow it to come to you, get into that trade. And with swing failure patterns, they're the best because the risk to reward is just so, it's so insane. The risk is so low for the potential gains of just catching a shitcoin moving.
That's fun. I know, it shows how much and for how long you guys have been trading, being successful even on something like that, because I think that majority of people, and I just want to throw this out there, make sure you understand what kind of risk you're getting into with a trade. We're not here to give you financial advice, but you got to understand we've got 3 of the best in the trading business here. They do things because they have they know all of the confluence that they're looking at to make a decision. Just make sure that you have the same amount of conviction that the move is going to happen, because ultimately the majority of traders lose money. And so the reason that we like to come on to Debate Crypto and have the best in the game is to hopefully educate you a little bit more on some things to do or not to do, or things to look out for, or maybe some new indicators that you can look at. So just make sure that you have some sort of understanding of what your risk profile looks like when you're jumping into these trades. All right, so we obviously been hitting on XRP and Bitcoin. Frank, the big dog is Bitcoin, right? But my question on this one is, like, could XRP, the case, be the catalyst to push things forward as it's related to this Bitcoin bull run? And if so, does anything in the charts back that up?
Yeah. So let me pull up the chart real quick. And yeah, I was talking about this a little bit earlier. The thing about the XRP lawsuit, I was actually talking to some people in the office saying, listen, like I said, we've been looking at the weekly money flow crossover on Market Cypher as a very, very big bullish signal.
Okay.
And, if I come back to the Bitstamp chart, you could see like every time this weekly money flow crosses over into the green, the bottom's in. We had that 2019 fake out bull market in 2019. Obviously, we came up to about 14K. Then we had the black swan. But, disregarding this black swan, we basically just went sideways and accumulated before the bull run started. And I'm honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something very similar happen here. Where we get that run up during the bear market. And if we did run up to that same area, this was the kind of macro golden pocket from the high of the bull market to the low of the bear market. And if we wind up seeing something like that happen, this is kind of what I'm looking at. And again, this does also fall into volume profiles as well. Just because our golden pocket here is between about 48 to 50K. And if I pull a range from up here at the top of the bull market, you can see that our value area low right here at about $28,900, like right about here. This level is going to move depending on what exchange you're looking at. But once we get accepted back into this area of balance, we could eventually wind up making a move for the point of control coming in at about 34K, and then eventually looking for, again, a keyword, an eventual move up to $49,000, which is in perfect confluence with that macro golden pocket. And I was saying, if we're going to see this move happen, it would basically, I think one of those main catalysts, those two main catalysts, obviously going to be the BlackRock ETF or XRP, crushing the lawsuit, could wind up giving us the juice to get all the way up there. And a lot of people see that target and they say, that's Moonboy math. And sure, I would kind of agree with you, but something to understand here is that if we do wind up getting up to that, say the bottom of this golden pocket at about 210% from the low of the bear market, it's not really that irrational in my opinion, because in 2019, we saw a 350%, almost a 350% pump up to that 14K level. And if we did get up to this macro golden pocket, it would be a lower percentage, which you would expect in a later cycle as the market matures and the market caps get higher. You expect that volatility to be less explosive in both directions. So in my opinion, I do think, something like this XRP news or that BlackRock news, or maybe both of them together, could wind up giving us that push to the upside. And I would say, you said, is there anything on the charts pointing to that? I would actually say the acceptance into this previous value area, meaning holding this level as support, could be that signal we need to expect that bigger move to the upside. So that's kind of what I'm looking at.
Yeah, dude. No, I love it. I know Magic, we talk about like order flow and stuff with you a lot. Obviously, we're talking about it with Max. Bitcoin, by the way, just as a side note, everybody smash the like for Bitcoin at like 31.7, I think, right now. So we got a new local high with that. Yeah, let's go. Super excited to see what happens there. So Magic, what do we think? Do we see anything unusual in the order flow that's happening right now with Bitcoin? And if so, is it XRP related? I don't know. It seems like everything's ripping right now. I'm not trying to tie everything to XRP, but it feels like the whole market is ripping, and the case just got, hey.
You've been consolidating underneath resistance here for a little while now, making higher lows after that initial touchback on the 30th of June. So for me, would I say it's got anything to do with XRP? Maybe. Who knows? Doesn't matter. It matters how you were positioned going into that, because if you waited to get the XRP news, you might catch some of the move, but that's also pretty risky. For me, I'm still waiting for major areas of inflection or just a trading setup like a swing fail of the local high. So next levels for me are like 32.3 to like 32.9, which is your quarter one low. I do agree with Frankie, though, on his analysis with the ranges, because I have a very similar setup in one of my chart folders, and it was this one right here. I'm looking for something very similar. We do have slightly different values for some things like the point of control. But I've been looking for a window of the 10th to the 23rd. I've gone over this on your guys' show a couple times for an inflection point in the market. And so we're starting to see that. So for me, the next couple weeks should be fun. But I'm looking up towards, realistically the gap potentially here. You also have your 382 that comes in, daily naked point of controls there. And then above that right here for me is the 2022 range highs. Okay. So you just be rotating the prior year range, also filling in the six month NPOC right here. So at 38,922, anything above that, and I'm kind of in the same boat as him, I start looking towards not only the gold pocket, but you have a December naked point of control and the quarter one pivot up here that was left untapped. back when we actually made this move right here. That was the first trade we took when I teamed up with CVO, actually, was that short. So, yeah, I mean, there's no real sign of weakness. Yep. If you were to see that, you would see it probably below this Q3 pivot at 28,893. It's also the .25. It's a fib level. So it just kind of stands to make sense that until this area of the chart is lost, that you were pushing up against resistance. And, you know, he talked about finding acceptance. I mean, you closed the week here, you closed the week here, you closed the week here, and now you're in this week back inside this larger range, which it's a really big one. It's hard to say, you know, are these valid because it's so much data. But when you look at the respect on the chart and you look at what's going on, you kind of just have to, you know, you have to trade your ideas and understand the risk involved. And if you can do that, you know, as long as you're managing risk, you should be okay. You know, trading is not that hard.
Come on.
We make it harder. The hardest part about trading is managing the risk. It really is. That's the hard part, is making sure that you don't like just go all in because, you know, you've got a feeling you gotta be ready to be wrong.
Because you pulled a keeper and you felt good about it. So you went long and realized, oh, my feelings aren't valid.
It's not just you, man. I wouldn't say it's a keeper. I'd say that's like 90% of everyone, man. Yeah. Believe it or not. It's not as easy as people think. So.
Well, let me ask this, Max, what do you look for? So let's use right now as an example for Bitcoin. What are you looking for as a confirmation that we're going to continue to head higher, or something on the opposite end that would be of concern that you would be looking for currently right now? Oh, you're muted.
Do you want to pop my chart up?
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, so here, this could have been a top because we had a big drop in open interest. You can see we've gone from increasing open interest to now, you know, decreasing open interest, and huge volume as well. The volume is a really important part. Typically at highs and lows, you get huge volume, a big drop in open interest, and, you know, a lot of trades. And so when you get these type of things, you know, they can all be signals for a reversal. But what you have to wait for, because you can't jump the gun. If you see this and you're like instantly short, you can't jump the gun. So you have to wait for selling imbalances, and I prefer stacked selling imbalances. Apologies, that's just telling me that the open interest is dropping.
Sell.
Yeah, but when you get one of these, this is an imbalance. When you get stacked imbalances, that's a lot of strength on the selling side. Typically, that's quite a good time to short. But you really want to wait to see market structure change as well. So I am on the 1 minute. You can wait for a 1 minute market structure change and then get in. Stop loss goes above the high. Really tight stop loss. And typically it's pretty good when you have an open interest drop like that. Okay. But given the trend that we've got, might be better just to wait, because you can come back, start to scare out some of the longs that have entered. I don't know if I've got any. If I put this on, you can see here, using this indicator, which points out where longs or people have entered. You can see we've got 103 Bitcoin here, 216 here. Price is probably going to come below, just to scare out the weaker hands before, you know, potentially moving back up. So you can't always say, okay, we've lost the low, we've made a lower low, that's it, market structure's changed, instantly short. You kind of have to wait for the lower high to be made.
Wait for the confirmation.
To then, you know, want to take the trade. So
I have heard there are a lot of old school traders would trade, at least in the stock market, almost strictly on volume and order flow. So I guess I want to ask you, I know you're looking at looking for multiple confluence points or whatever, but is that effectively what you're doing? I mean, are you trading almost like systematically off of volume and movement of that volume?
Yeah, so my charting skills compared to Magic's are just like awful. I always say that his charting skills are phenomenal. Mine are very basic, but what I do is different and it works for me. So you always have to find, you know, what works for you. And as soon as I found, you know, the footprint chart, for me, it just made sense that this is, you know, you can just dissect the candles, you know,
because every rectangle across. So you're on a 1 minute chart. So for those of you that don't know, and I want to clarify, if I'm wrong here, tell me, but I believe that every rectangle I see, that like the whole stack represents a candle on, let's just say on a 1 minute chart or whatever. And then is each of the rectangles within that just like an order block?
I think it's because I think it's $10, because this is set to 100 ticks and it's on Binance. On Bybit, I would set it to 40 ticks, which would be 20. Is it 10 or 5? I think it's 5 actually. So $5 is one of these boxes. So, you know, if you've got many boxes in there, it's shows you that you've got a big candle effectively. You know,
it's showing you the candle, a whole bunch of them are green stacked on top of each other. It's showing a lot of money flowing in at that point, correct?
Yeah. So the right-hand side here, this is buying and this is selling. And it's, you know, it's layered like this. So this buying is against this selling is against
okay.
You know, it's layered because you have to buy to go up, and to sell, you have to push it down.
And what makes it dark green versus light green versus pink versus red?
So if it's dark green, there's a lot more positive delta. If it's red, there's a lot more negative delta.
Okay.
So typically, if you want the uptrend to continue, you want to see more green than red, because if red is overpowering the, you know, if shorts are overpowering the longs, obviously price is typically not doing too well.
And is this something that you teach in the? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Is this something that you teach within the Discord, Max? I think it is, isn't it?
It's all in there. We've got I don't know how many videos on it now. Quite a few at this point. So
nice.
It's
that's
very
a different
basic.
way.
It's very basic, and then it gets into the more deeper end of stuff towards the towards the end, which is you know, good. But yeah, the people that you were mentioning before, like Axia Futures, they are the stock market guys or Forex people. They are the goats.
Yeah.
So. And they put all their stuff up on YouTube. So
it makes a lot of sense to me. You know, when I started in the stock market, it makes a lot of sense to me because at the end of the day, it is there more money coming in or more money flowing out? And it really is that simple in terms of the direction that it's, you know, that it's headed. We do have so many different indications of which way it is heading. And so it's kind of like putting together a puzzle. If you know where 3 pieces are in the bottom right-hand corner, well, then you should probably start working off of those. And so it makes a lot of sense to me when I see that showing, okay, this is basically the money fighting back and forth, and you can see a trend with it. I like it. It's a different way of doing it. I'm glad that you came on today to show us that for sure. Let's switch gears a little bit. First of all, can we hit at least 100 likes? I don't know how many likes we have right now, but let's make sure to smash that like. It's really simple. If you're on mobile, you literally can X out of the mobile chat, just hit like and come right back in. I promise it won't kick you out. Appreciate the likes from everybody, and make sure to follow all of these creators on here. They're spending time to give you that alpha. All right, let's switch gears a little bit. Frankie, a lot going on politically. Okay, I'm not going to get all keeper political on you, but there has been a lot going on politically surrounding the crypto space. Have you seen or heard anything exciting and or concerning related to the overall markets, the overall crypto markets as of late?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I have to say, for the most part, I am probably the opposite. I'm more bullish on, like I was saying the other day, I'm more bullish on crypto right now than I've ever been. Just this whole bear market, like we saw so much stuff happen, and like so many problems with the traditional finance system, just like all this crazy stuff. We've had a pretty crazy bear market. There's a lot that's gone on, you know, geopolitically, you know, not only in the financial space, but, you know, just geopolitically in general. And a lot of these things like just brings us back to, you know, we had the banks go down, you know, and just more and more often I find myself going like, wow, like it seems like there's just no better time for mass adoption than now. And by now, I mean, like, you know, today and then moving forward the next few years. And then, you know, you get the BlackRock ETF, you know, sure, there's been people trying to get ETFs for a while. They always get rejected. But, you know, it's BlackRock, right? Yep. Like if someone's going to get this ETF approved, it's going to be BlackRock. And then, you know, they got the application was denied or whatever. And like the market barely reacted to that. And it's like, listen, like, yeah, it's crazy. So, and then, you know, the charts are saying the same thing to me, right? At least as of right now, as the way the charts look, you know, things look extremely bullish again, like on the higher time frame. So, you know, I'm not really worried about the low time frame noise. You know, we get some dumps here and there. I'm not really worried about this. Really, the higher time frames I'm focused on. So from a fundamental aspect and the chart aspect, I am definitely, you know, more bullish than ever.
I love it. I am as bullish, if not more bullish as well. My concern has been and will continue to be geopolitical issues that we're seeing. But I want to remind everybody, if what I've been talking about does play out, which I do believe that before the full-on bull market rips, whether we see a big rip right now, no matter what we do, I do personally believe, and I still stand on this, that we've got another big drop coming. And I just believe that because there's so much instability within world markets, within real estate, within obviously politics. I mean, we can't agree on male and female right now across the world. So I don't know how we're going to come to this point where we can actually agree on things monetarily. And so I do see that drop coming. But let me just say this, with that drop in mind, don't let it scare you out. I've told people a million times the best thing I ever did was bought the COVID dip. And fundamentally, nothing's going to change with crypto. It's just part of the game. And with BlackRock coming in, let's assume they get this ETF approved, they can really start playing some games with the market. We talked to Gary Cardone like 2 days ago. We had him on the stream. Great interview. If you want to go check that out, guys, that's on our channel. It was a fantastic interview. Such a brilliant business mind. And we kind of talked a little bit about that and how these big players that are coming to the table, and kind of leads me into my next question for you, Magic. These big players, as they come to the table, they're here to play the game, and they ultimately are really good at playing the game. So my question for you is, I think I've asked you something similar to this before, but I'd love for the people on here to hear it now. Does your strategy change even a little bit, knowing that some of the real big dogs that can push these markets around are coming to play? Do you have to pay attention to anything different or kind of strategize a little bit different? What's that look like for you?
Long term, no. My long term strategy, no. I'm swing long on Bitcoin pretty heavily. Everybody knows that I'm a big Bitcoin bull. I've been called a maxi. I do trade altcoins, obviously, though, as XRP knows. But Bitcoin has been, what got me into the space. The idea of sound money was what attracted me to it. What got me in was the altcoins, actually. I thought that was really cool tech. And then I became in it for the tech in 2018. So knowing that Bitcoin's got that on the horizon, it's a very bullish event. So does that mean I'm only going to be taking longs? No. But in terms of like my day trading strategies, it really doesn't, unless the percentages of like my wins and losses and my drawdown, things like that, start really swaying. Then it doesn't matter who's in the market playing. It means I need to reevaluate and find a new strategy, right? So I'm going to keep going business as usual. If it isn't broke, don't fix it. But long-term investment wise, it certainly does bode well. And it just gives me more confidence to kind of stand in that position and stay in the space.
I like one of the things that you told me a while ago. You told me that that actually journaling was one of the most important things that you could do as it relates to your trades, because you can actually look back and see what happened, when it happened, where it happened, why it happened, whatever. And I think, maybe even now more than ever, as if you're getting into trading with all of this money moving hands and in big ways, like let's say BlackRock coming in, if you're just coming in now, maybe you start paying attention to that, and it could show you exactly like you said, Magic. Oh, wait a minute. This isn't really working for me right now. Yep. What do I need to pivot? What do I need to change here to make it a profitable strategy? So I really like that you suggested doing that, even though journaling for me would be, with my ADD brain, would be very tough, albeit important. I do keep a calendar now because I got so much business stuff going on. I have to, but it even took me a while to do that.
Dear diary, I got liquidated today.
That's right. I literally look right here. Check this out. Come see if you can see this. Liquidated. Yes, I absolutely was shocking, and I got liquidated. So it's Dear Diary right there. That was on 420. So
wow. Well, I mean, you shouldn't be trading on the devil's lettuce anyway. So I mean, it's fine.
I know. Crypto fam, smash that like if you haven't already. Everybody in the chat wanted to jump in. We just had a $5 super chat shouting out Frankie in the Candle Mafia. Says Frankie's an amazing teacher, leads a great community, and dude's taught me so much. Hit the likes.
Thank you, BT.
So thank you guys for all of the continued support. All right, ETH. I want to ask. Let's see who we want to go to now. Who's next? Max. I'm gonna ask you, Max. What are you seeing as it relates to Ethereum? Is Ethereum one that you're paying attention to, or not so much?
I do not touch ETH.
Okay, well then we'll talk to Magic. Magic definitely touches ETH. Magic, what are we seeing with ETH right now?
Sure, I'll get the.
Hold on a second. Let me pause. Max, why are you scared, bro? My biggest holding is ETH. What are you scared of ETH for?
He just doesn't day trade it.
I just don't day trade it. It's just too big for me to get great percentages out of.
Let me ask you that then real quick. You say you don't day trade it, right? But you day trade Bitcoin, right?
Yes.
And there's
But
a pretty
I need
profound.
enough capital in Bitcoin to make it work. I just don't want to trade ETH.
You just
I'd
don't
rather
want to.
trade
Okay.
coins that are like
Okay.
0.0000001 that can move insane amounts, or Bitcoin, and then
That's your market leader, and that kind of is your indicator anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I wasn't sure about that because we've seen time and time again a really strong pattern of how the money flow works through crypto. So interesting that you don't. Okay, so Magic, I know you do and will. What's ETH looking like for you, bro?
Yeah. So the irony of this chart is I gave this chart to you guys in June of 2022, like on my very first show here. Have not touched any of the levels. So we were looking for the single print right here, essentially to be tested. It did get filled, was tested, retested, became support. You reclaimed the merge value area low. These were like ATAS levels at the time. And you've since reclaimed the merge value area low on the upper profile as well here, along with the TPO val between 1784 and 1646. So these have been levels that we've been watching since, back in June. If you were to go towards the analysis now, really that July high, which is about 1785. If you go to the USD chart, which is what I'm going to go to real quick.
July of last year?
Yeah. Or no, this year.
Oh, July of this
year.
No,
it is last year. It is last year. I'm sorry.
Okay.
July high right here. So you can see that on a weekly chart, you did come up above it. If you go to the monthly, you had swung fail this level after tagging the yearly pivot, right? And then it was resistance, and then it gets flipped to support right here. Now you had an interesting setup. If you recall, the next target on those values from the last chart would be $2,600. So barring that you don't swing fail this local high into the quarter one low right here at 2155, I am still looking for about $2,600. And then locally, because we all like harmonics, always in the fun folder, there's always something there for everyone. You had a shark. Okay, so this pattern played out, and it came down to the target. The first target on something like this is always going to be your 50% mark. So you're looking for that because you have the potential then for what's called a 5-0 reversal, which this one front ran the time just a little bit, which is all right. But everything else was, in line with it. And so from here, what you would be doing is still taking the normal expansions of what you've got going on from X down to that B leg. And you just want to see what is the extensions of this. And that'll give you some charting targets as well to line up with what you've already pulled from volume. And you can see that your next target is 2625, lining up with that $2,600 merged point of control of all data that we're going to be looking for. So that is the confluence for it. And what would get me bullish is really closing above the 6M2, which is your second 6-month data in terms of pivots, and then also the 12-month pivot at 1988. So closures above there. And
closing a daily, a weekly, what kind of candle are you looking to close there?
I wouldn't want to close dailies down back below this after coming back above. So I would say even dailies, you want to live above this. If you live above it for 5 days and then you give the level back up, it's certainly not a good sign in most cases. But July high has been the area that you have to hold. You can see it was really good support till dipping below it. Even the reclaim was a good enough long to take back to the pivots area. And from there, if you're in a swing long from down in this region, you've got to be looking up a little bit still and saying, can we take this overall high? And then from there, can I push into that $2,600 region? And that for me is going to be the level that I'm looking for next on Ethereum, especially if Bitcoin is going to be finding its way back into that range. However, that all goes out the window if you fail to push above this resistance. And then we just say, maybe this isn't a 5-0 and this actually plays out further to the downside. So, if you're long on ETH and you took this gold pocket, 50% retrace of the overall into the quarter one MPOC, a lot of things here said, great place to look for a long. I think this is a take profit one. And then after that, it's a free trade. Move your stop loss to entry and let it ride up to those higher targets if possible. And then if you're invalidated, no harm, no foul. Right. So
you're playing with house money at that point, right? I mean,
that's the idea behind it, and that stinks to cover now because the move's underway. But people should understand that if they did get along here, because I know a lot of the people were looking for that like 60 level. So if they did get along here, I do think this is a justifiable take profit one, whether it's 20 or 30% of the position, and then just let the rest of it go. Stop loss at break even, because the risk to reward is so good from your entry point at that point. It's like you said, house money. So. That's what I'm looking for. Is I'd like to see 2,600 over time on ETH if we're going to see this continued bull up, even though Bitcoin is taking a little bit of a dip right now.
Yeah, I like to see the different strategies that you guys use, and that's been one that you, Lifer, Frankie, I've heard you talk about it, sliding that take profit or sliding that stop loss up after getting past whatever the point is that you took that initial profit. I like it. All right, so let me ask this, Max. You didn't like ETH, okay? So let me throw something else at you here. I'm gonna let you pick. You'd like to day trade. Do you have a current day trade right now on an altcoin that you are in, or do you have something that you're looking to possibly enter?
I mean, right now, all the shitcoins are up. So you can literally, if you're using the altcoin strategy. So I've only started trading altcoins. When was it, Magic? Like maybe, I think it was end of May.
Okay.
I was about the time you started playing around with that aggregated open interest indicator.
Yeah. So as soon as this indicator was released into TradingView, which is like, it's the bollocks, sorry to swear on your stream, but it's so good because it uses all the combined open interest from Binance, BitMEX, and Kraken.
Okay.
Compiles it all into one, and it just makes it so much easier.
You have it pulled up? You have it pulled up right now?
Yeah, I have it pulled up.
Okay,
I have it pulled up on ETH.
Yeah, my bad. Okay.
So it's
you have it pulled up on ETH, my man.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah. I swung over to it just to check it out, but I have no chart on this. But yeah, this indicator, it just if we go into the settings, it combines Binance, BitMEX, and Kraken all into one, and it's just so much easier to bounce between shitcoins effectively to find the high movers. So simply all I would do. Let's do ETH. I need to change this because ETH is very expensive. There we go. Let's put 1,000 on. So 1,000. So this indicator finds where the liquidity is, and simply all I will do is look at ETH. Okay, uptrend, open interest is very good. Has it had any big reversal signals? I've actually not got the where's the volume? There's no, other than this one, it's not really, this high is pretty weak. So you've not had an open interest drop at that high. So really you'd expect this uptrend on ETH to really continue. But do you just want to buy here? Because then you've got to have your stop loss here. And I heard a really good trader say you should enter where you would want to exit your trade.
You should enter where you would
exit. So if you were to just enter here, where would you put your stop loss? That's where you should enter. Okay. So you should enter where you would exit effectively. So it's why it all leads into the swing failure pattern. Trade setup. So you'd enter down here because that's where you put your stop loss. You'd put it at lows. So as price came down, and let's say it came and tested this 1,000 ETH that's here, you would long once it got back above the low. Stop loss would go below the low, really tight stop, and then you would target the liquidity of the 1,600 ETH here, the 1,000, let's call it 400 ETH there, and that would be your target because that's where the liquidity is to the upside, and you're simply just going from one side to the other. But I would prefer to trade with the trend because these shitcoins can just go a bit ham.
They can go absolutely wild. I have been really successful, and at the same time I've gotten my ass handed to me on some of the crap coins. I've stayed away from them for a long time. I started playing with them a little while ago, and have done overall actually really well. But you're right, a lot of it is, and we talk about this, a lot of it's gambling, a lot of it is stepping up to the crypto casino, and as long as you understand that's what you're doing, all right, cool. But I like the fact, Max, that using some of the strategies that you're using, you can step into the casino at least with something in your back pocket and kind of know where the money's coming from, where the money's headed, at what point. So I definitely like that as another tool on the old trading tool belt. So gentlemen, let me ask a couple quick fire questions. First one, this is for all of you. Yes or no? Will XRP surpass $1 in the next week? Frankie.
I mean, we hit what, 93 cents? It's definitely not out of the cards. Definitely not out of the cards. Like I said, I'm targeting that like $1.28 level. And, I'll just, yes or no answer. I'd say, yeah, probably.
Magic.
What's the deadline for this dollar prediction?
Just a week from today.
If all things considered, if this is a true break of the range and it's bullish, I don't see why it wouldn't. I think $1.09 is a big magnet right now. So I would imagine over $1.
I heard people talking a lot about $1.28. Is actually, somebody just dropped it in the chat. I see. Dave Digital said 128. I've heard a lot of people talk about that as well. Max, Yes or no?
Who cares?
That's kind of my real answer too.
Well, listen, the people want to hear that XRP is going to $50,000, right? A coin, because then everybody that's ever been in XRP is a billionaire. You know what I mean? But who cares?
And
That's a great.
Never hear the end of it. We will never hear the end of it.
You never hear the end of what?
People that have been harping on about it for so long.
Oh my God. Well, you know what? You wouldn't even need to. If XRP hit some ridiculous number like that, and I hold a lot of XRP, so obviously it would be life-changing for me. But I feel like it would be the most beautiful way to just go sit somewhere on a beach and enjoy a nice Mai Tai and just, kick it. But the reality is that's not how life works, ladies and gentlemen. The reality is for the whole XRP thing that everybody's been all these wild numbers. If you think that our government, who has a lot of control over these markets, whether you like to admit it or not, is going to just basically allow you to wake up and all of a sudden be one of effectively the elites from a monetary standpoint. If it went to $50,000 a coin, I forget whether it was $5 billion or $50 billion I think it's $5 billion that I would be worth. Do you think the government's going to wake up and say, Keeper, I bless you as a multi-billionaire? No, it's just not. It's just not real life. And so I hope a lot of people, though I want to see it go as high as humanly possible, I will just tell you, and I've talked about this also, I am taking half of my chips off the table, as it were, with XRP at $5. Okay. I will then let the rest ride, because I will have made a bunch of money at that point, have a nice big fat moon bag. But the reality is these wild moon boy numbers that you hear, even the $589, I just can't come to a point where we can get to a market cap where it would even make sense. And so many people in the XRP space get mad at me for saying that. I say, market cap doesn't matter. It's going to take over the whole SWIFT system, and it's got to hit this certain number. At the end of the day, it does matter. We have X amount of effectively dollars within our system, and it's got to go from somewhere to somewhere. And I just don't see any way that you let that many people get so wealthy so fast. I think it would actually be really bad for the economy, and it definitely wouldn't be good for the other elites. Okay, so next one, last XRP question. Okay, will XRP lead us into the bull market with this news? Is this actively leading us in? And when I say leading in, I'm not talking about, hey, from now until next May, like a trickle up. Is this going to actually push us forward towards that move? Frankie.
Listen, so I would say like that macro golden pocket we were looking at earlier at between about 48 to 50K is going to be a big level. I'm looking for some kind of a decent sized rejection. So I'll say this, listen, the 4-year cycle, in my opinion, will break at some point. But I am going to, take it, I'm going to take it into consideration until it's wrong, right? It's right until it's wrong. So yeah, I do think XRP could help, right? Like maybe it does help push us out of the bull market a little bit early, but if we get up to, I think more likely if it's going to give us a big move, instead of teleporting us to 100K, I would really start looking towards that macro golden pocket first.
I like it. Magic, what are your thoughts?
My take on it. I don't think it's going to push us into a bull market. I certainly don't think it's a bearish thing where altcoins can now, they have that precedent maybe set where they can look at it and go, okay, we have some ground to stand on with the SEC. The question is, do they have the money? Which XRP did. Not all projects do. So I think what pushes you into the bull market is kind of like what he was talking about, like, things like the halving, the ETF approval, those are huge events that are going to really, you're changing the dynamics between supply and demand for the largest asset in this space permanently with those two events.
Ooh, that's a really good point.
When I look at it, those are what are going to drive a bull market. And you have to have those events realistically to hit that 100K mark, because XRP winning the SEC lawsuit's not going to push crypto above. And if they lost, honestly, some altcoins would die out, but Bitcoin would still carry on. So you have to have the Bitcoin side of things, in my opinion, still. And that sucks to say, because I know people really like XRP and they really like those communities, and that's nothing wrong with that. It's just, this is the realistic, approach to it, is that it's still a Bitcoin market. Same with Ethereum. Like if something happened to Ethereum or Bitcoin, whole market changes. The dynamics. That's just the facts.
Yeah, for sure. Max, let me tweak this question for you a little bit, because I have a suspicion you're going to say, who cares? Do you trade differently bear market versus bull market in terms of actual strategy?
I mean, I'm always holding Bitcoin, okay, but I absolutely love taking shorts because normally it causes, they're normally faster moves. The shorts are it normally drops a lot quicker. So I much prefer to take shorts. So then when it goes up, if I'm not long, I can kind of just sit and be happy while money just goes up. Do you know what I mean?
Interesting. Yeah.
So for me, I always take shorts anyway, and then I can kind of be more relaxed on the long side. So when price is going up, it's an easy day.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense because we do. Usually the moves are violent to the downside when they do happen. So I think that makes a lot of sense. All right. So last question, gentlemen. First of all, smash the like if you haven't already. Make sure that you're following all these creators. I've got their links down below the stream. Every one of you that's here, just thank you for being here. We are on, just as a reminder, Mondays, Thursdays, Sundays. Mondays are more altcoin centric. Thursdays are more Bitcoin centric, although yes, today a little bit of an exception with the XRP banter. And then Sundays we do effectively bullish or bearish, and Crusader and I do kind of a back and forth debate crypto style kind of debate on some of the things throughout the week. And then obviously we're producing content also and pumping that out throughout the week. So make sure to check some of that out if you want to. If it's your first time here, welcome. Super excited for you to be here. All right, so overall market sentiment. I know that this is, maybe an easy question, but I'm going to tighten it down a little bit farther. Market sentiment by the end of the year. Don't get me into the halvening. The market sentiment between now and the end of the year. Frankie.
I think we continue bullish. Like I said, that macro golden pocket at 50K is really where I would like price to go. Like obviously no guarantees. But yeah, right now with that weekly money flow crossover, I do think the uptrend is more likely to continue than not. But most importantly, it does not mean that is guaranteed.
That is always a fact. We are not here to give financial advice. Not at all. We're just sharing some of our experience and opinions. Magic. Between now and the end of the year. You're muted. Bullish on voice voice capability here. Come on.
Are you asking? You're asking. Sorry, boomer moment. You're asking sentiment, right? Like, are people going to be bullish at the end of the year? Or are you asking if price is going to be?
Both.
Both. Okay. So price definitely has the chance to remain bullish, like Frankie said, because it's not going to just go from $31,000 to $45,000 to $49,000, overnight. Like that doesn't normally. It's not a normal event. Okay, even in Bitcoin and crypto. Yeah. So it could take time. It could take months to get back to that level, which means a grind up, which would actually be painful for people because everybody wants to pull back. Everybody wants that big washout and they keep trying to predict it. However, the more painful thing is to leave people on the sidelines. Much after the COVID crash, even it left a lot of people out because there was a gap beneath us that everybody had to have filled. That was the thing. It was like a 3K gap. And I believe it was even like a 4-hour gap and everybody wanted it. However, if this is similar, like let's say it's like 2019, a lot of people are saying this is like 2015 and 16, which it could be. But if it's 2019, I remember when it hit 14K and then bounced around and finally went back down to 6 and then back to 10 before eventually dumping down to 3. People were so absolutely out of their minds bullish looking for all-time highs, even after the sell-off to like 6K and then back to 10. Every time we got close to 10K, this thing's going to rip and it's going to be 100K Bitcoin one day. And that was in 2019. And it lasted until the COVID crash. I remember being short at like $92 or $9,300. I think it was like $92.50 something, and looking for $5,500. And people thought I was an absolute lunatic. And then I woke up one day and it dumped to $3,700 overnight. And I was like, wow, well, that panned out. And much like Max, I trade inverse. So it did pan out. I didn't have to buy anything. I just closed my short position. It buys me back into spot Bitcoin. And I already had my position set, So it was just one of those things where it didn't catch the bottom or the top because the top was obviously like 10.5, but found a way to make money in between. But yeah, people were just absolutely bull tart. And then as soon as they got the climax sell, everybody went bearish again. It's because they didn't buy at the bottom though. They all got washed out and they got left on the sidelines, and Max Payne was the grind up and just left them all out of the market. So
I think it's a really good point, dude. When it does grind slow and everybody's waiting for that movement, you're right. So many people do miss out. We've seen it time and time again. It gets down to 20 and people are saying it's going to 10 or 12 or 15. And then when it does like get down, let's just say it gets down to, I actually had it happen to me on a meme coin not too long ago, and I just had to have it hit about this certain number, and it got close, right? And I still didn't jump in, and then it rocketed back up to this huge number. It's the reason why people think that I'm probably boring for the most part, and it's because I like the dollar cost average strategy. It freaking works for me. I know where I think it's headed long term, and that's why we bring the traders on to talk about the trading. So Max, speaking of trading, finish us off here. Bullish or bearish by the end of the year?
You love the astrology questions. I don't know, man. I just trade the 1 minute chart.
Okay. Is that actively like you trade very short time frames all the time? Like CryptoFace does that quite a bit. That's what you like to do.
I very rarely leave a swing trade running.
Really?
Very rarely.
I said I don't see you over the hourly chart much, to be honest with you. So
no, I check the daily, I check the hourly simply for the trend, and then I'll try and trade on the 1 minute in line with that trend, or if I see anything changing. With sentiment predicting the future, I don't have any edge on that. I can't tell you anything.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter to you.
Doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter to me. So why bother?
Yeah. The different strategies, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't figured this out, the different strategies, although they can be very different, they're all pushing towards one idea: going up or going down. Short term going up, short term going down, long term going up, long term going down. But what I like about what Max is saying, and I've learned this for myself, I'm not actively trading very often, but what I have learned is that these short-term movements, unless you're doing what Max is talking about, right, they don't matter. The long term is where I believe we're going up and to the right. So don't let the chaos confuse you or get you shaken out, unless obviously you're trading like Max is. Then you probably need to pay close attention to the really short time frame. So it all depends on what your strategy is. Crypto fam, I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on. Anything going on, gents, that we need to let the people know about before we jump off here?
I guess I'll go first. This was actually, I believe, Max's idea. We do a 1 week free trial to any of our educational services. So It's not gate kept or anything. You come in, you have full access to all the modules. You have access to the live streams that we host, the live trading sessions, everything for that first week. So
nice. And that's over on your Discord, right?
Correct.
Perfect. All right, Frankie, what you got?
Yeah, I go live every single weekday at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do 2 hours of educational TA. And then we also have my free Discord and my premium Discord where I give spoon-fed trade setups. And yeah, that's about it.
I love it. Crypto fam, make sure to smash the like if you haven't already. Follow these creators. You could be anywhere on a Thursday afternoon, but you're here with Debate Crypto. So we appreciate each and every one of you. We love you. Just remember, question everything, trust nothing. And until next time, hodl like it's hot. We will see you soon.